Every rider knows this, even if they've never put words to it. You roll out, settle into the seat, and somewhere down the road, your head clears. Not excited, not relaxed, just sharp. For decades, riders said motorcycling did something different to the mind. And for decades, science didn't bother looking. Recently, that changed. Researchers studying attention, balance, and decision-making under real movement started noticing patterns that lined up with what experienced riders already knew. Nothing mystical, nothing emotional, a measurable shift in focus and awareness. Stick with me to the end, because we're breaking down what holds up, what gets exaggerated, and why this actually matters for you. The instant mental shift. There is a moment every rider knows, even if they have never tried to explain it. You throw a leg over, settle into the seat, and the world you walked away from begins to fade. It is not dramatic and it is not emotional. It is simply a shift, a clean break from whatever your mind carried a few minutes earlier. The mind feels like it moves from one channel to another as soon as the ride begins, switching out of everyday noise and into something far more streamlined. The moment the machine rolls forward, a different mode snaps into place. Researchers who studied riders in real conditions noticed this transformation long before they had numbers to back it. They called it rapid mode switching, a phenomenon where the brain transitions into a specialized state that is not present during walking, driving, or routine movement. It is a natural reset button built into the riding experience. The ordinary mental chatter that fills most days gets pushed aside without effort, replaced by a focused readiness that builds with every rotation of the wheels. This is not relaxation, and it is not tension. It is a clean, neutral shift into a state built for processing movement and space. Everything unnecessary drops off the mental table. What remains is a mind sharpened for the task ahead. But shifting modes is only the beginning, because once the mind enters that state, another system snaps to life. The attention, network, snap-on effect. Riders often describe how distractions fall away the moment a ride begins, but they rarely consider what is actually happening inside the brain. Mechanically speaking, the mind behaves like a well-tuned machine. The instant attention becomes a necessity. The prefrontal network, the part responsible for sorting and filtering information, activates with remarkable precision. It behaves like a tool locking into place, snapping on exactly when conditions demand it. Scientists comparing brain activity between riding and driving found that the riding state was completely different. In a standard vehicle, attention drifts. The mind wanders through errands, conversations, and background thoughts because the environment allows for it. On a motorcycle, none of that mental drift survives. The brain pulls every available resource into situational processing, eliminating noise with the same efficiency as a mechanic stripping out unnecessary parts. The result is a mental field free of clutter. Vision sharpens, auditory cues take priority, and decision pathways streamline themselves. This is not forceful focus. It is automatic focus created by the prefrontal system recognizing that distraction is no longer acceptable. The mind stops tolerating excess input and begins treating the road itself as the only relevant signal worth processing. What riders feel as clarity is really the brain locking onto its primary task with perfect mechanical consistency. Nothing extra is allowed to interfere with the flow of attention once that network engages. And as that attention system locks in, another unexpected pattern emerges deep in the brain's electrical rhythm. If you're into riding, real science, and the truth behind what motorcycles actually do for us, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. And share your thoughts below, because Rider Insight always pushes these discussions further. The calm brainwave signature. When researchers measured electrical patterns inside the brain during real-world riding, they found something no one fully anticipated. The brain shifted into a unique rhythm, a blend of alpha and beta waves that typically do not appear together in daily life. Alpha waves are associated with a calm internal state. while beta waves dominate when focus and engagement are high. During riding, both became pronounced at the same time, creating a signature pattern that researchers described as calm focus. This combination did not appear during ordinary driving or while performing other tasks requiring attention. It was specific to the conditions of riding, where the mind must maintain awareness without slipping into tension. The electrical blend supported a sense of steady inner control, allowing the rider to remain calm while still reading the environment with precision. What riders often interpret as being in the zone is simply this neural balance taking shape. The brain is neither idle nor stressed. It is active without strain, attentive without agitation, balanced between effort and ease. These findings surprised researchers because they suggested that the brain is capable of achieving a meditative signature while fully engaged in a dynamic activity. The rhythm supports clarity without pressure, steadiness without fatigue, and awareness without overload. Yet, this blend is only half the story, because alongside calm focus, the brain simultaneously activates a state found in situations requiring heightened readiness. Before we keep going, take a moment to gear up right. Dependable gears and accessories are linked below in the description. The dual state riding paradox. The most fascinating discovery came when scientists examined how the rider's brain managed to stay calm while remaining alert at the exact same time. This dual state effect created a paradox that did not appear in other common activities. Normally, alertness elevates stress responses, narrowing the mind into a reactionary mode. During riding, however, alertness and tranquility coexist as two separate systems firing in unison. Researchers reviewing the neural data saw patterns typically associated with readiness, awareness, and rapid response capability. These signals resembled states observed in athletes preparing for sudden motion. Yet the indicators of tension were absent. Instead, the calm brainwave signature remained fully present, meaning the brain achieved high alertness, without the strain that usually accompanies it. This dual activation formed a state built for complex movement, speed changes, and shifting conditions. It prepared the rider for unexpected events while holding unnecessary stress at bay. The alertness present here is the only instance allowed in this part, tied directly to the biological evidence of this paradox. The brain behaves like a system designed to anticipate without panic, respond without hesitation, and maintain control without emotional overload. This discovery changed how scientists understood the act of riding. It was no longer seen as simple, thrill-seeking, or focused motion. It became clear that riding activates a neurological blend that is rare in daily life, a purposeful union of readiness and calm stability. With these states now understood, let's talk about how riding strengthens the mind far beyond the immediate moments on the road. Spatial intelligence and road mapping. Every rider develops a sense for the road that is difficult to explain to someone who has never spent real time in the saddle. The ability to read distance, judge lean angles, estimate closing speeds, and understand how the bike fits into the environment becomes second nature. Researchers studying this phenomenon turned to spatial cognition, the mental process that allows human beings to form internal maps of the world. When they compared riders to non-riders, they found that riders consistently produced stronger, faster spatial representations. A well-known Japanese study from 2009 examined how riders processed visual and environmental data. The results showed significantly improved spatial reasoning among individuals who rode regularly. Their internal maps updated more quickly. Their assessments of surrounding conditions remained sharper, and their ability to track multiple moving objects simultaneously increased. This was not tied to youth, strength, or reaction time. It was tied to experience, repetition, and the brain adapting to the demands of riding. Spatial intelligence becomes a practical tool on the road. A rider can look at an unfamiliar curve and intuitively understand how the turn will develop. They can sense how a vehicle ahead behaves before it changes lanes. This sharpened mapping ability is not learned through books or classroom instruction. It is developed through real miles and real riding. Once the brain builds stronger internal maps, it begins handling the constant stream of micro-decisions that every ride demands. Working memory under load. Riding requires a kind of mental juggling that most day-to-day tasks never approach. The brain must hold several short-lived pieces of information at once, update them constantly, and discard them the moment they are no longer relevant. This process is known as working memory, and it is one of the core systems that allow humans to make rapid decisions in complex environments. When scientists observed riders, they noticed that working memory took on a heightened role that remained active throughout the entire ride. Working memory on a motorcycle does not operate on long-term planning. Instead, it manages split-second tasks that must be remembered only briefly. The vehicle approaching in the mirror, the surface texture of the road ahead, the position of a rider in the next lane, the timing of a turn signal, or the spacing between traffic gaps. Each detail is held just long enough to matter. Then it is replaced by the next detail without hesitation. Observational science showed that riding strengthened this mental function because the brain is required to continuously update and release information with efficiency. There is no storing, no hoarding, and no lingering on irrelevant cues. The system becomes fast, clean, and responsive. This constant loading and unloading of short-term information builds a sharper, more agile decision-making process that carries over into non-riding activities as well. And while working memory manages the immediate details, another system handles what comes next: predictive thinking and road foresight. One of the most remarkable mental abilities riders develop is predictive thinking, the capacity to anticipate what will happen moments before it actually does. This is not guesswork. It is a cognitive system built on pattern recognition, environmental cues, and learned experience. As riders accumulate miles, the brain becomes increasingly skilled at forecasting the behavior of traffic, the shape of a road, or the movement within a group ride. Neuromodeling research shows that predictive cognition begins forming templates based on repeated exposure. When the brain sees familiar patterns, such as a vehicle edging toward a lane line or a curve tightening unexpectedly, it activates these templates instantly. The rider feels a sense of confidence, the only emotional element allowed here, because the mind is referencing thousands of micro-patterns it has stored over the years. These patterns help guide decisions long before conscious thought enters the picture. Predictive thinking is especially valuable in moments where hesitation could compromise control. A rider may sense a developing situation, adjust speed, shift position, or prepare for a maneuver before any visible threat appears. This foresight is not mystical. It is a trained cognitive skill rooted in the brain, recognizing familiar cues faster than a non-rider can process them. What may look like instinct from the outside is actually a high-level mental function. Riding trains it relentlessly, turning prediction into an everyday tool. And if prediction is the long view, the next skill is the ability to shift mental gears instantly when conditions change. Cognitive flexibility in real time. Riding demands a level of adaptability that few routine activities ever require. Conditions shift quickly, and the brain must adapt without delay. Cognitive flexibility is the mechanism that allows this rapid switching between tasks, strategies, or perceptions. It lets the mind abandon one plan and adopt another with no lingering hesitation. When examined through task-switching research, riders consistently demonstrated stronger performance in this area than non-riders. A motorcycle creates an environment where cognitive flexibility becomes essential. A rider may approach a turn expecting one set of conditions, only to find gravel, a sudden shadow, or a vehicle slowing unexpectedly. The brain must release the original plan, evaluate the new data, and create a new plan instantly. This process can repeat several times within a single minute, building a system that becomes both resilient and efficient. In garage conversations, riders often describe these adjustments as instinctive, but the truth is more precise. These rapid shifts are the product of a trained cognitive network capable of reorganizing itself without friction. The brain grows accustomed to monitoring multiple variables and shifting priorities as conditions evolve. It becomes comfortable rewriting its own plan in real time, which is the essence of cognitive flexibility. This ability does not rely on force or pressure. It develops naturally because the demands of riding encourage the mind to stay fluid. That fluidity becomes a valuable skill both on and off the road. With these mental systems sharpened, this explores how the body and brain work together to create a deeper level of coordination. Motor coordination loops. Riding creates a physical demand that links the body directly to the machine, and this connection relies on coordinated movement shaped by neuromuscular pathways. Each action, whether a subtle steering adjustment or a full lean through a sweeping turn, depends on signals traveling between muscle groups and the brain. Over time, those pathways refine themselves. What begins as deliberate effort becomes smooth, efficient motion, similar to a seasoned mechanic learning the feel of a tool until the hand and the tool move as one. Physical analysis shows that riding develops a distinctive loop. Muscles respond, the bike reacts, and the brain instantly recalibrates the next motion to keep everything balanced and precise. This constant loop forms a closed circuit of control. Arms, legs, core, and back work together without conscious management. The body learns to anticipate the machine's feedback, and the machine mirrors those inputs with consistent stability. This synergy reduces wasted motion and sharpens response accuracy. Riders often describe the sensation as the bike settling beneath them, though the real explanation is the refinement of muscular timing shaped by repeated riding. Each new mile strengthens these pathways. They become more efficient, more synchronized, and more reliable under changing conditions. It is a process built through repetition rather than force, with the brain shaping movements to match the demands of the road. These refinements create lasting stability across varied real riding. With coordination forming the foundation, another system develops alongside it, working quietly but constantly through every mile. The balance system riders train without thinking. Balance is one of the least appreciated skills developed through riding, yet it becomes essential from the moment the wheels begin to move. The vestibular system, located deep within the inner ear, governs equilibrium and orientation. When riding, that system receives continuous stimulation as the body shifts with acceleration, deceleration, lean angles, and road irregularities. Over time, these demands strengthen the vestibular response far beyond what ordinary daily movement requires. Balance testing has shown that riders maintain steadier posture and recover stability more quickly than individuals who do not ride, even when challenged by unexpected motion. The act of leaning into a corner demonstrates this training clearly. The body senses changes in gravitational pull and repositions itself with remarkable precision. A slight shift in angle, a change in speed, or a dip in the pavement activates the vestibular pathways instantly. The rider does not think through these corrections. The system responds on its own because it has been conditioned to handle the movement. This creates a foundation of stability that remains consistent even on long rides or uneven surfaces. Balance is not a conscious calculation. It is a learned response built through repeated exposure to constant, low-level challenges from the road. Each ride strengthens the system further. With more experience, the rider's body adapts to maintain equilibrium with minimal effort, creating a steadiness that continues long after the engine is shut. As balance refines itself, the senses begin working at higher capacity, shaping another essential element of riding. If you want the next deep dive into how riding shapes skill, awareness, and performance, make sure you're subscribed. Each new episode brings research every rider should understand, And staying connected ensures you're here when the next major discovery hits the community. Sensory bandwidth. Expansion. Writing exposes the brain to a level of sensory density rarely encountered in everyday life. Vision, sound, temperature, vibration, and motion all arrive simultaneously, creating a flood of information that the brain must organize with precision. This is not overwhelming for an experienced writer. Instead, the brain becomes skilled at expanding its sensory bandwidth, allowing it to register more details without slowing down processing. Environmental sensory load studies show that writers develop increased capacity to absorb rapid sensory input, particularly when multiple senses activate at once. Every ride delivers a wide range of sensations. Wind shifts along the helmet, pavement texture moves through the suspension, and engine feedback travels into the body. Light changes across open or shaded stretches add visual variation. The rider does not track each detail consciously. The brain filters the stream automatically, sharpening perception and strengthening sensory processing systems. Presence appears naturally through immersion, with senses operating at full volume. This refined capacity deepens awareness and supports steady control throughout every mile ridden. Once the senses expand, the final piece of the system comes into play, guiding how riders maintain awareness without overload. Situational awareness. Cycles. Situational awareness is a skill that writing develops with a level of depth unmatched by most ordinary activities. The environment constantly shifts, and the writer must detect changes without becoming overloaded. Reaction time studies show that experienced writers integrate environmental cues more efficiently than non-writers, processing relevant details while discarding noise. This ability forms a cycle of awareness in which the brain continuously updates its understanding of the surroundings without sacrificing clarity or control. A writer scans ahead, tracks nearby vehicles, reads surface conditions, and senses airflow changes. These tasks merge into one flow that guides physical response. The brain pulls cues from all directions, updating constantly as old information fades and new details emerge. This awareness is not hypervigilance, but a trained system that stays open, steady, and adaptable. The writer maintains a rhythm of scanning, assessing, and adjusting until these updates become automatic. Over time, this develops into a durable skill that supports consistent control. Situational awareness does not remain static today. Why science overlooked writers for so long? For decades, academic research focused on activities that fit neatly into laboratory environments. Writing never did. It required open roads, environmental unpredictability, and real motion, none of which blended with controlled scientific methods. As a result, research culture largely ignored the writing community, leaving a blind spot that lasted for generations. Scholars preferred studying walking patterns, seated tasks, or controlled athletic movements because those subjects produced tidy, easily measured data. Writing, in contrast, resisted simplification. Field analysis of published studies from the past several decades reveals how rarely writing appeared in research conversations. When it was mentioned at all, the focus often centered on safety statistics, rather than understanding how writing shaped human performance or mental processes. This narrow focus created an incomplete narrative, one that portrayed writing as risky without acknowledging the deeper skill sets involved. The absence of comprehensive studies allowed misconceptions to spread unchecked. Writers who believed writing sharpened awareness felt overlooked as science ignored their experience. Their insights were treated as anecdotal for years. Vindication arrives now, as modern research confirms what writers long knew. Writing shapes the mind in clear, measurable, and meaningful ways. Once scientific gaps began closing, another unexpected shift emerged from a completely different field: how mental health professionals are responding. When early research began demonstrating the mental benefits of writing, mental health professionals took notice. It started quietly, with wellness organizations exploring unconventional methods for reducing stress and improving concentration. Eventually, veteran support programs and trauma-focused groups discovered that structured riding sessions produced measurable improvements in daily functioning. These discoveries introduced riding into the cultural conversation about therapeutic tools, a place it had never occupied before. Some programs incorporated group rides as part of broader wellness routines. The value was not described in emotional terms, but in observable outcomes: improved focus, steadier behavior patterns, and enhanced environmental engagement. Community neurochemistry played a role, as shared movement and mutual awareness created a sense of connection that many participants described as grounding. The act of riding together created conditions that promoted stability and encouraged participants to remain present in the moment. Therapists recognized riding as a practical tool for rebuilding routines, improving attention, and strengthening engagement with surroundings. Focus stayed on outcomes, not sentiment, making riding one part of a broader recovery approach. This marked a cultural shift as riding evolved from recreation into legitimate mental wellness support for many riders. As the therapeutic world adjusted, another ripple began spreading through the industry that builds, sells, and trains riders. The industry reaction no one predicted. Manufacturers and training organizations slowly realized that the growing body of research could change how people viewed riding. Market analysts noticed that riders valued activities that strengthened skills or improved cognitive performance, and they responded accordingly. Dealer and manufacturer trends began shifting toward machines and training experiences marketed around capability, control, and long-term engagement. Behavioral economics played a role in explaining these patterns, showing that riders gravitated toward products that aligned with proven benefits rather than vague promises. Training organizations adjusted their programs to reflect new insights. Courses began emphasizing environmental awareness, coordination development, and refined control techniques. These changes were grounded in evidence rather than tradition, helping riders understand how training shaped their performance both on and off the road. Manufacturers, meanwhile, highlighted durability, ergonomics, and consistency, elements that supported the riding habits associated with improved cognitive performance. Skepticism grew as riders questioned whether industry changes reflected genuine respect for research or simple marketing. Yet, the shift persisted because data supported skilled, engaged riding. Markets rewarded authenticity, pushing brands to adapt responsibly. Riders expected more than machines. They expected proof their investments supported meaningful, long-term riding experiences. As companies adapted and programs evolved, one final transformation emerged within the culture itself: a revival of rider identity. The growing recognition of riding's benefits triggered a cultural revival among riders who long valued the experience, but rarely saw it acknowledged outside their own community. Identity reinforcement became a central theme as new research confirmed the depth and complexity of riding. Riders found themselves reconnecting with the reasons they first developed a passion for long miles, open roads, and steady control. This revival did not rely on nostalgia. It was built on an understanding that riding contributed to a sense of purpose shaped through experience. Cultural observation reveals that discussions shifted from simple enthusiasm to meaningful dialogue about what riding represented in daily life. For many, it symbolized competence, consistency, and heritage. Riders began sharing stories about the influence riding had on their routines, their patience, and their approach to challenges. Pride is the one allowed emotional element here, emerging from the renewed validation of a lifestyle that had long been self-supported. Younger riders embraced traditions once held mostly by seasoned riders, creating a bridge across generations grounded in proven cultural and mental value. Training centers and community groups grew as riders united around shared purpose. This revival came not from marketing, but from evidence, experience, and a renewed respect for the depth of riding. The more researchers uncover, the clearer it becomes. Riding changes the mind in ways most people will never understand. Not through theory, but through lived experience on real roads. The science finally caught up to what riders have known for years. So as you shut the garage tonight, remember every mile shapes you. Every ride rewires something deeper. And the story of what motorcycling does to the human brain is only just beginning.